Hey y'all, it's Mr. Allen back again with another video. First off, I want to start by saying any support you would show to the video would be appreciated. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get right into it. Today's topic is going to be my top 10 video game franchises. I just kind of wanted to give a general, kind of outlook on my opinions on video games and what I think is like really top tier, really good. With that, let's get into number 10 here. Number 10 is going to be the horror genre. We're going straight into the horror genre here. My favorite survival horror game probably is the we're putting the Silent Hill franchise here. Some amazing games here. I love Silent Hill 1, 2, 3, and 4. Not to mention, I'm also a big fan of Silent Hill Homecoming, and I'm a pretty big fan of Silent Hill Downpour as well. It's pretty good as well. So all of those games are just really solid, and I highly recommend it to anybody that's looking for a real solid survival horror experience. Silent Hill will give you a spook for sure. Number nine, we're going into fighting game territory here. This is probably like one of my favorite fighting games ever. I really enjoy it. And that is the Naruto Storm series. I'm a huge Naruto anime fan. I love the Naruto series. So just, having a pretty awesomely made fighting game involving that world and those characters and such, it's an awesome game to me, and I always really enjoy playing them. I loved both Storm 3 and 4 for sure. But the first two were also really good. They're a little dated now, but like they were good at their time for sure. Especially the first one. Number 8, the Legend of Zelda games. There's a few really solid picks here. I feel like obviously I need to pick a favorite probably. If I had to recommend one, it's Breath of the Wild on Nintendo Switch. That's probably the easiest to recommend and best Zelda game. And, if you're not going to recommend that, there's a few things I would also say are pretty top tier games. One, yes, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom on Switch is also a really solid option, really good game. It is kind of like a direct sequel thing to Breath of the Wild, so that's kind of why I recommend Breath of the Wild over Tears of the Kingdom. But Tears of the Kingdom, well, I don't personally like it quite as much. It's still a really solid game. But there's some other awesome options here. You can pick up Zelda Wind Waker. It's an awesome game. There's Triforce Heroes, another awesome game. We got Majora's Mask, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess. I think it's Twilight Princess. That one's iconic. That was like the first one I ever played. So there's like some really like iconic games in that series, and I highly recommend that if you're into Nintendo or even just looking to go on a new mythical adventure with some magic and some crazy mechanics and such, this will give you a good story. Number seven, we're going in a different direction here. We're going shooter, Call of Duty franchise. I've always been a big Call of Duty guy ever since I was real young. I was honestly into it a lot more when I was young, but like I gotta give it its credit where it's due. I still play Call of Duty. It's still a game I get hyped about. But honestly, what keeps it so high on my ranking of games overall, well, I do think it is probably the best competitive shooter, and that is a reason I put it on here. I do love some of the multiplayer and campaigns. Some of that stuff has been real brilliant over the years, but it's very hit or miss. It's either good or not good. Really, for me, what keeps it there is the zombies mode. I've always been in love with the Call of Duty zombies mode, and I've done a lot of custom zombies, and I used to play a lot of World at War custom zombies. I haven't played a lot of the Black Ops 3, but I'm working on it. I'm hoping to one day. But I'm a huge fan of the Call of Duty Zombies mode, and that always keeps me coming back when that rolls back around, and all the different versions and stuff there are now is also really cool, and different takes on it, like with Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, and Cold War. But I also, I just want to, it is one of the best shooters, so that's why we're putting it here. Number 6 is Halo. The Halo series, it's another really great shooter. It's a sci-fi shooter. I think this is one of the best sci-fi worlds ever created in literature. I love Halo and all the lore that comes with it, and not to mention, I think it has some of the best competitive multiplayer also on the market. It, most of the time has amazing campaigns, and I'll say this, it has some of the best sci-fi campaigns in all of video games and all of literature. But the game also has a few things that are hit or miss, and that's why it's lower on the list and doesn't quite make the top 5. But both Halo and Call of Duty are real solid shooter options. Number five is okay. I'm always big on Pokemon. We're looking at all the Pokemon games here. Not every single Pokemon game, but some of them, I think some of the Pokemon games are real iconic, and I just kind of loop them all in together because I'm an avid, big Pokemon Go player, as you can see on the channel. But also I am a fan of the Pokemon card game to some extent, and I'm a pretty big fan of the mainline Pokemon games and the Pokemon animes. So they do kind of like, it makes me really enjoy, I feel like the games overall, I really loved, especially the last two or three releases. Pokemon Sword and Shield was fire. Pokemon Legends Arceus was fire. The Diamond and Pearl remakes were fire. The new game, Scarlet and Violet's really awesome. So like, it's just, the mainline games are also going crazy, so we're just looping it all together here. We got number four, Telltale's The Walking Dead. This only got 4 seasons, and kind of I feel like the third, there was definitely some writing fumbles here or there because of the season to season, way they did the story. But altogether, I would say every story came together, told an amazing story, had amazing characters, and was literally unforgettable, despite how different and how just different I thought it was going to go. Every single season hits. I wish there was going to be more. The Clementine comic that they got coming out, I've only read a little bit of it, but I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with that. And it's really just really awesome. If you've never played it, I highly suggest you check out the first season. An iconic story, almost as much as the actual Walking Dead main story for sure. It's really an iconic story. But I suggest if you enjoy that, or if you've played that and you haven't played other parts, I do suggest you play it all the way through to season 4. It's worth it. All of it's really good and worth it. You should check it out. It's one of my favorite stories in a video game ever told. And also, if you like zombies, this is S-class material. Number 3, the Persona games. I love the Persona games. Recently, probably my favorite Persona game in recent time is, of course, Persona 5 Royal and Persona 5 Strikers. Both of those are awesome games, even though Persona 5 is just a re-release. It still is just Persona 5 and Persona 5 Strikers are awesome. They have the Persona 5 Tactica game coming. We'll see if that's any good. It looks good. We'll see. The Persona 3 Reloaded game remake thing is coming, and that looks amazing, so I'm hoping that's good. But, just games that are already out, I love both the Persona 3 FES port as well as the Persona 3 portable port. I think they're both awesome. I do kind of prefer the FES a little bit, but, not by much, and they're both really solid ports. Persona 4, the original port, definitely is, weaker than the Persona 4 Golden port, but Persona 4 Golden is an S-tier experience as well, just like Persona 3 FES. But I would also give a lot of credit to the first and second Persona games here, because I also really enjoy those, and I enjoy all of the mangas of all the Personas, and the animes as well. So I really feel like the reason it cuts into the top 3 here is I'm a huge fan. S-tier series, if you like supernatural, any kind of mythology, people of history, mythical creatures, stuff like that. This is S-tier material, especially if you're into some anime goodness. Number 2, Final Fantasy. If we're into anything fantasy here, this is where it's at. We got chocobos. You know, I mean, what else do you want? It's Final Fantasy is one of the best game franchises ever, and they've really accomplished something amazing by having a whopping 16 entries as of the recording of this video. The new Final Fantasy 16 was awesome. The Final Fantasy 7 remake has just been spectacular so far. So they're on fire right now. That's not even counting the Kingdom Hearts goodness. But the new Worlds End With You game was awesome. I mean, just the Final Fantasy people are on fire right now. But like, there's also like just tons of history when it comes to Final Fantasy and tons of hits. I love the original Final Fantasy 7. We got Final Fantasy 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 15, 14 being this massive game that I still play to this day. And probably, I would say Final Fantasy 14 Online is the best MMORPG. And that's just my opinion, but I do want to put that out there. So I really feel like there's just a lot of heat in the Final Fantasy franchise and always something to be excited about, and that's why I put it here at number 2. Number 1, let's get to the final pick here, the last pick. What do I think is the best video game franchise? If I had to pick one, if I could only play one game, what is the comfort game? Kingdom Hearts franchise. You know, right next to the Final Fantasy goodness is the Kingdom Hearts goodness, and I just think every game in this franchise is worth playing and absolutely spectacular. And despite even some of them having some shortcomings, just like Final Fantasy and Tales, The Walking Dead, and etc., there's just some top quality writing in this series, top quality vibes. If you're a Disney fan and or a Final Fantasy fan, you're going to be in love with this. With that, I do have a little list here of honorable mentions I want to go through just to kind of give y'all a little bit more of an idea, a broader idea of the video games I'm into. But that's definitely the stuff I see as like S tier, just absolutely awesome stuff, you know? But here's some other awesome stuff. We got the Dragon Ball Budokai series. If you're into fighting games, this one's iconic. It's my favorite Dragon Ball fighting game. Specifically, Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi 3 is my favorite Dragon Ball game. Amazing game. We got the Titanfall Apex. I love Titanfall 1 and 2. I think they're just awesome, and I'm sad that we're not getting anything new Titanfall. But I will say Apex Legends does make up for that, and is very Titanfall and vibes, and it is an awesome game as well. So we're going to go ahead and put that here, and I would recommend Titanfall 1 and 2 and Apex Legends, especially if you're in Battle Royale, like Fortnite, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds kind of stuff. You're going to love Apex. It's probably my favorite Battle Royale that's like mainstream for sure. I mean, they're coming out with some more heaters like the one that just got the Nier collab. I forget the name of it, but we got next on the list. We got Mario. I think there's some really awesome titles in Mario, especially in recent years. I love both of the Mario Maker games and Mario Odyssey. I think they're all heaters. Luigi's Mansion heater. We got old school Mario Kart games that are just all heaters. We got see, that's not even counting like all the classic Mario games themselves. So like really Mario's iconic no matter what way you spin it, and you can find something that you can enjoy playing for at least a little while here. So I think Mario's a good pick for an honorable mention if you're just looking to have a good time. Dark Souls and other Souls-like games, or some other Souls-like games. This one is like, I love Dark Souls 1 and 3 a lot, and I love the original Demon Souls and the new Demon Souls. I love Bloodborne. I love, I forget the name of it, but there's a samurai Souls-like game that's just absolute fire. You know, and that's not including like, that's not including just like, there's been a lot of fire, like, Souls-like games. It's really become, like, a heater genre, just always coming out with crazy games. There's a Wukong game based around Wukong that's coming out that's a Souls-like that just looks like an absolute, like, blast. So I think these games are really going to continue to strive to, like, prosper for a few more years at the very least. So I'm ready for it, and just keep giving them to me. And I think any of these games, especially if you're like the kind of person that likes a good challenge in your video game, and maybe maybe not as much focused on storytelling and more focused on the experience, you'll like a lot of these games. And I will say some of them have a bit more story than others. So if you are looking for more of a story experience, that you can still find something here. Maybe just Dark Souls itself isn't it. We got Dragon's Dogma. They're about to make Dragon's Dogma 2, and it looks amazing, and that officially makes it a franchise. And I just hope this prospers. I hope this game does good. I hope they continue to make stuff, just because I love the original Dragon's Dogma. Have a lot of good memories with it, and I think it's an awesome medieval title. If you love fantasy, medieval fantasy, this is an awesome title to check out, and I would definitely recommend it. And hop on the hype train for when Dragon's Dogma 2 comes out, because that's also going to be awesome. We got Valkyrie Chronicles. This one's an odd entry because I can't even really specify which games I like the best here, because it's been so long since I've played one. But I played one in recent time. It was probably the most recent release. I'm thinking the name is slipping my mind. But it was really good, and it just reminded me how much I used to love the games as a kid. And I believe specifically like the second or third entry was just like I played it so much as a kid, and I really recommend this series if you're looking for more of like something a little more like it's still anime-ish, but you're gonna get like a bit more historical vibes, some war vibes. You're doing strategy and coordinating gunfights and military stuff, and it's really cool. And I really like the way that series started, and I think it's definitely worth checking out if that's something that would sound interesting to you. Next is just Spider-Man PS4 games. I've been loving that story so far, the Spider-Man PS4 and Miles Morales stories that have come out, and I am sincerely hyped for the second one. I'm a big fan of Spider games from the past of all kinds. I love Spider-Man, Web of Shadows. I love Spider-Man, Edge of the Multiverse. I love or whatever that one is, the one that's like Spider-Verse-y. And then we have, not to mention all the games he's been featured in, and the original Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 games, if you can remember those. I played those, but those were good back in the day. I'm not as huge on the Amazing Spider-Man games, but the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was decent. So that's worth mentioning as well. But the new Spider-Man games have been just heaters, and I feel the need to mention them here just because I'm a huge Marvel and Spider-Man fan. And Spider-Man's probably my favorite Marvel hero, so that's the reason it made the cut. But our next one is a big one for me. Other Shin Megami Tensei games, other SMT games. We have the mainline Shin Megami Tensei games that have been coming out, like some real heaters in there. Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne is iconic and one of the darkest and hardest games you'll play in JRPG in general. But also, Shin Megami Tensei 4 Apocalypse and the new Shin Megami Tensei 5 on Nintendo Switch is just, both of those are just absolute heaters and just awesome. Shin Megami Tensei 4 and some other notable ones like the side title Shin Megami Tensei If and a few others, like there's this one that takes place with these armored dudes in America, and that one's really solid as well. So there's a lot of titles here, not to mention all the side series like the Devil Survivor series, which are just awesome, the Devil Summoner series, which recently had its comeback with Soul Hackers 2, the Digital Devil Saga games, just all the different spin-offs. This is definitely something I gotta recommend if you're looking for like a big JRPG franchise to get into, similar to that of like Final Fantasy, because it, like altogether, if you count everything, it's similar in scale. We also got underneath that we got the Nier games. The Nier games. If we want to go some Final Fantasy vibes again, I would recommend. The original Nier game, Nier Replicant, and Nier Automata is all great games. I even hear the phone game isn't terrible, the new Nier phone game. But, like, I haven't personally tried it, so I can't speak on it. But the Nier games are solid. The Nier anime is solid. I would just genuinely suggest you to look into Nier, especially if you like Final Fantasy and, like, either sci-fi or fantasy, and especially if you like apocalyptic worlds as well. Like, you're gonna love the stuff that's going on here, and like some of the characters and stories and themes that are told are just kind of like crazy, out of this world, like gonna blow your mind kind of stuff. Um, Next, we have an old school classic, kind of cartoony entry here with this honorable mention being Jak and Daxter. The Jak and Daxter games are awesome. I like a lot of them, even the racing ones. But some of the highlights for me is I really like Jak and Daxter 2 and 3. I love both Jak and Daxter 2 and 3. And I also like the solo Daxter game a lot. Our next entry is The World Ends With You and Neo: The World Ends With You. Both of the World Ends With You games are pretty awesome, and it's just a little world that's made by the Final Fantasy people, the Kingdom Hearts people, whatever you know, Square Enix. And I just think it's another little fantastical, little awesome little world telling really cool stories that are in a very different light and vibe, and almost so much that it feels like it has such a more modern tone than like a lot of the content those other franchises have to offer. The last one I want to recommend is a classic title. The Grand Theft Auto franchise, the GTA franchise. I feel like anybody can get behind this franchise that's trying to blow off some steam or just do something wild and crazy. It's a fun franchise where you can do anything from life simulate to just commit crime, become a bank robber, whatever you want to do in this one. But that's kind of why GTA is cool. Is it's a life simulator. There's a lot of hype behind GTA 6, and also just behind what Rockstar can do as a company because of what they did with Red Dead Redemption 2 and how cool that game was. So I'm putting GTA here just for the role it played in my upbringing. Unfortunately, probably shouldn't have been playing that game as a kid. But yeah, I'm putting it here on the list. That's our last honorable mention. And that'll wrap up the video. I hope everyone has an amazing day.